deep is deep? The crash that casts its own shadow. The crush that follows the spine. The jagged precipices we go to hide. The alignment is its own curse. Find the position and flow. Find the nook and break. Acceptance is a rotting weird. I am remembering the discarded apple core. I am remembering haunting reflective images. Me staring at me across the break. This inward position flanked by self. To carry the image and the understanding. Inward, deeply, towards the core. Core invading core. Core approaching. Dispersing. Readily available. How deep is deep? It means being present. It means being heard. It means being drowned in sound. An angry flow. Retching. The lasting breaths are flailing. Sea spit flares across cheek. It will take you that time. It will require the pinning in. And you will return. And I will. To see it last, we will be present. To see it at last, to combine and manipulate. What is behind the silhouette? What is being dried as I speak and dehydrate? Expend energy and ask to be allowed?
I am here. I am full of this. I am full. This bank is crushing. The impact is clear. Swimming in total. Bringing in the surrounds. Among the chirps. Among the drowned. It is lessening. The language of the stampede, crossing countries, expanding. I am full of this. I am made of this. I am disgusted. I am disguised. I am shaped. turns into what it was meant to turn into, what it was meant for, what is purpose, clear, reminiscent, integrated into diamonds, the swallow of the mouth. Every step is a mouth's swallow. Every step is a mouth swallowing. Ocean is bridge. Tides are arches. The arched back becomes a hook. It is cast into the shallows. There is lingering. There is laughter. The cackle of the crash. The crushing of cross countries. Flowing into the ocean. I float along the ocean. The caress of the shorebirds. Open. Open your eyes. Open your back. Open your spine. They reach the sky. It reaches the clouds. The knowing returns on the surface of the driftwood, along the scattered pieces of plastic, along the scattered spine of the shore. I am waiting. I am waiting. I am watering my lengths into the future. I am a plan. I am a plan. I pan for integrity. I attempt to open. I attempt to understand. There is water in my beard. There is water around my eyes. There are tears. There is the crushing out. There is the stomping. I stomp across sand. I am stamping. I make my way into the center. I search for the diamond. I am mesmerized. I have memories of emeralds. I have memories of chrysanthemum. I contain it. I hold the palms in my fists. I brush off undeniable elbows. I return to cowardice. It is calming the way the bath can keep you moving. The movement of air as steam. When it becomes too cold and the fog lifts and the resonance reiterates, I feel it. Claws grasping clams, the weight of the sand when something is buried. Crab shells, a gull's shadow, a silhouette before the palmed fists, before the arch of the sun. The waves are arches, the lesser we know, the plan to gain time, the plan to keep moving is critical, is crucial, is choral, is careful. To plan to keep moving. I don't resent facts. I don't resent an attempt to find truth. I don't resent harmony. I stare lovingly. My beard is salt and breeze. I focus before dispersing. I am walking. I am waiting. I am challenged. I am restless. I must be contained. I am contained. but I am content, aroused even, odd even, in conjunction, at odds with. A recommendation to be on this beach. How long have we been on this beach? How long indeed have we been on this beach? How long this beach then? The beach is a smothered algorithm. I cannot escape design. I cannot find the watch. My mouth is gurgling even as I breathe. There is a swallow in my throat. Its call. There are niceties along the edge of my knowing. I seek greater truths. I seek the great. For Cooper Smith, I am afraid and I am angry. The last impression I wanted to make was one of solitude. I am as hermit as not hermit. I deeply appreciate your presence. I am often feeling alone. I am often seeking while alone. Many moments I am too busy to remember. I am sorry. This apology is about presence, spending time thinking about being present. I can hear the music of the millions of moments of ocean. I can let you know. I often sulk and wait to see your presence. There is a cordial feeling to it. Being here, being integrated into undulation, there is commitment, there is presence, and it is so fine, so delicate, so momentary. The term momentary loss merges into my understanding of catharsis. I return to my feelings of grief. The dead musician. No, the dead friend. He happens to be everything. He happens to be spirited. We merged in the night like knives and carried one another. Magnetism of hearts, alignment of neurons, that mirroring, that shared jovial mirroring. I stare at death. I stare at the seasonal departures. It is autumn, and I watch the sky for as long as it is visible. I am aware of the future. I am aware of the past. I am not fully present. It is an investigation toward fullness. It is not awkward, but it has a tone that does not sit right. His voice scattered like a constellation, still visible, but fading. Or how to keep seeing as light pushes further away, takes longer to arrive, is at the mercy of our clandestine set of physics, our sheathed realities. Double exposure, staring at the glass that is present now, thinking of the lack of the reflections of that darkened sand at dusk, thinking of the waves in the night that do not afford a reflection. Did they ever? Not in the day. Seafoam and lament. You would have to head inland to see yourself, like scry glass and crystallized premonitions. Those circumstances are foreign. In a world of torrent, there is energy. There are massive contributions of energy, and the self becomes small, brittle, rarely coveted, rarely centralized. The sun might be the exception. The sun is exempt. The sun as self. An unoriginal idea. A mythological splendor shared across time and space. And in this beach, there is that sun. And upon this beach, there are those rays of sun. Like knives, we come together. We carry ourselves, double exposure, and I am sulking. I am wretched. I am only I. The self is a castaway, flotsam, jetsam, functionless feature. It is within the parameter of this swirling, swollen body that collects and drowns. Singing body is the signing body, is the lasting figure, is the deep end dive, is the spleen, is the kidney, is the skull, is the blood, is the face, is the skin, is the belonging, is the corners, is the hiding, is the spinning, is the kiss atop the skull, the cranium, is the head, and the mind splits into shatters, fractures, is a fractal, is a fragment, is a facet, is a code, like the space that is the leering, is the listening, is the flowing, and remarkable. It is remarkable. It is malleable. It is process. It is orientation. It is multidirectional, is forward, is backward, is timeline, is line, is linear, is perceivably straightforward, is hardly political, is acceptable, is tolerant, is shattered, is accepted, is gathered, collected, restructured, reframed, proportional, and conditional, and lasting, and reflexive, is compassionate, or a version, the one you can rely on, the one you can anticipate. Along the way, before the destination, the shimmering collects and explodes in the periphery, while structures are announced, are revealed, are made to be known, make themselves seen, make themselves space, make themselves composed, to make themselves erupted. To make is to consider, and to act, and to reflect, or none of the above. It's not that straightforward. It's rather discomforting. It's concerning. It's gravitational, and exceptional, and exclusionary, and a singular approach that requires time, and requires effort, and intensity, and transition, the way the lengths always came, they too transiting, they too traversing, they too in addition, and welcome, to be kept, they deserving attention and reciprocity, the language of the shared, the sequence that is shared, the language of sequences, that revisiting of the diamond, the wraps around my torso, and the kiss that sends electricity into a full and satisfied core that may be the core turned to and flipped over, or could be nothing at all. It is that permissible. It is that permeable. Let's return to this. This beach, this place, this location. It's on a map. It's breathing. It's alive. Let's return. Let's call ourselves out. Let's be the best. Let's be here right now. Let's stare and gawk. Swollen pleasures. The presence of the bunch. The collection of the folks. The people who speak the language of tides. The languor of those rhythms. It is gray and blue and here, right here. No need to go far, no need to express exertion. This exercise is an anti-exercise. This is about totality. This is about universality. This place, this experience, this time, this language, this land. It is about now, and then, and forever. It is about the evaluation of permanence. It is about the expectation for presence. And with every threat, there is the perfect picture. And with every regret, there is the perfect reflection. Despite sadness and despite awe, there is all of this. It is life. It is alive. It's breathing, and we are here. I can remember the house. I can remember the wind. I can remember the empty streets at night. I can remember the peace within the day-lit meanderings. I can hold myself softly in these memories. Manzanita revisited, and again, 5 times, forever. It extends like an agreement into the weight of night. At night, there is the reset and structure of this piece. There is the weight that culls stress, that imposes sleep, and it is a warmth at night that I remember. No discomfort, no fear of breath, no fear of anger, no fear of fear. Like the swollen lighthouse that begs us to revisit, this space too holds us ready for a sprightly entrancement. I remember a house. I mentioned a house. I mentioned us. I mentioned the group. I mentioned the experience. I mention it because of the sharing, because of the shared, because it's a noticeable specialty. It's noticeable, and it is full, and it is long, and it continues into the horizon, and it is temporal, and it takes time to know. But let me back up and explain. Let me ease backwards, like wind or portraits. Let me take a moment now. Walking along the water, I noticed every so often another person alone, sitting on a drifted log, a huge fur. now salt-covered and light gray. You know the kind, and the person, who no one knows, sitting still, transfixed, eyes glazed over, fixed upon everything and nothing. Blood-filled sculptures, intensely present. You've seen them too. I know we all have. They arrive and pass by without words, no warnings, no blessings. They are just, and justly they are. And I call to them now, in admiration and in exclamation. Respect. Bearings. I call to them now and open up my eyes like ancient crabs long since eviscerated along the shore. Memories, trances, statements and statements and statements. The ideas that float up into space. Then they float out. Did you catch them? Did you manage to hold on to the specific instant? The specimen? In a film you may have seen, there was a house on a shore. There was a house on a shore, and a man lived. He suffered, and he sustained, and he lived. I am thinking of that house. I am thinking of many houses. I am thinking of houses like shells, eviscerated, disassembled, deconstructed, and brushing up with an ocean. In the interim, there is the tide. There is the presence. There is the totality. It shutters each and every option. It opens up its mouth. It reaches inward and inhales, and there is capture, and there is preservation. I do not mean to undo what I have spoken. I do not mean to further contradict myself. I believe it all. I believe in everything. And I can still feel the sand beneath my weight. I can still remember in gargantuan moments. For Amy Bilhars. Another crush leans into my heart. Another crush and another wallop. Imagine standing above the effects of a force so strong it is undeniable and unknowable all the same. This is the horror of nature. This is the transcendental vision. It hasn't gone away. It is awe. Is it here? And it is here now too. And it will be here. And there too. And you will take the chance to open yourself up to it. Stand there, sit there, be there, above it, along with it, in knowing it, in believing it, in accepting it. Its truth. Its violence. Its responsive core, its synaptic reality, its blinking moments, the snap of the tiny resonance, the listless breath of this sequence, the filaments, the beacons, the favorited words and scripts, like a scripture that holds us into our commitments, patterns that identify how we may believe, recognitions that keep us moving, keep us planted, keep us going. These thorough pieces that we can finally understand and not understand at once. A focus towards the right methodology, though, standing there with you, some momentum gathered, the right methodology indeed. Would I wake up once again standing above that gray, milky swirl? Swoon upon it, churn into it, believe in its icy texture, breathe in the sounds of the crush and thrum that balances out the creek's canyon as an interlay, as a splice, as a figure of retribution and shock, because it is shocking, because it will shock you to start to think, to purse lips and pause, to be united with this, to unite with unity. It will shock you and tear you apart, and it will be a freedom of rips and shreds. It will loosen and dislodge. It will allow for conductivity, relational awareness, an epiphany of reforming and deformalization. Do you remember the greens and oranges of the jaunt towards the truth? Do you remember the truth in that searching for truth? Do you recall our endearment towards the clarity of air and water-brushed flora? It was a meditation of ferns and alders and maples. It was firs and cedars and mosses. It was the passageway that shared blindness and illumination. All these intense images bordering that truth. Perimeters upon perimeters in many dimensions and many angles. One might lose a mind in the process. One might discover a mind in the process too. Or even better, one and one might share, as there is sharing in opening, as there is sharing in horror, as there is sharing in the emerging through a destructive past and constructive future. The ground moist, the rocky bed that leads into the gray source moist, the light rain barely beginning and ending, the edge of this reality, the fringe through nature and knowledge, this process to keep us planted, to keep us going, the patterns that we can identify now and forever, now and forever. Breathe in the sounds of the crush and thrum, those figures of retribution and shock. Repetition is a brave way to continue, to believe. Repeating the act of exposure is additional exposure. Think synecdoche, think synchronicity, and in this attempt at representation and simulation, think reality.